Oh, there. Oh, just the volume. Okay. Maybe I have it too much. Okay. All right. Live from Rick Stotler Field on the campus of Florida Tech in Melbourne, it's Florida Tech Panther Women's Lacrosse. It's senior night as the Panthers host the Tampa Spartans on the Florida Tech Digital Network. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Jerry Durney with you once again on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Glad to be speaking with you as the Panthers hit the home stretch of the season, and it has been a big week for the ladies. Of course, all started last Saturday with their dramatic final minute victory over Rollins, which was made possible thanks to Sophie Bender and Bridget Robinson. And Sophie scoring with 31 seconds remaining, and then Bridget Robinson making the save at the buzzer to seal the win. And they went back to the field on Wednesday down in West Palm Beach, took on PBA, and had to survive a late charge from the Sailfish. What was a very tight game for three quarters. Saw Florida Tech pull away late for an 18-15 victory. So Florida Tech will enter play tonight with what is an overall record of 6-7, but more importantly, they are 2-1 in league play, which puts them in great position to return to the Sunshine State Conference tournament for the first time since 2019. But it will be all major tests from here. According to this week's IWLCA poll, the Panthers finished the regular season with the teams ranked number 2 through 5 in the nation, and that starts tonight with the defending national champion Tampa Spartans, who are on the mend themselves. They enter with a record of 11-1, but 2-1 in league play as they suffered their first loss in over a year last Saturday in overtime at Embry-Riddle. They lost that game 15-14 to the Eagles. Bounced back for a victory Wednesday night at home against Rollins, winning that game 15-5. And as we've mentioned so often, there are no off games in this league. Even the talk from a lot of the Panthers coming out of the game on Wednesday was not, well, we played the bottom team in the SSC. How did we let that game be close? No, the talk from amongst players and staff was, that's a good team. That's a real good PBA team that if you put them almost anywhere else would be true contenders. We had the Senior Day festivities about an hour ago, so we are all set with that. We'll have the starting lineups and the national anthem shortly. As a matter of fact, let's give you the Florida Tech 12 for tonight, courtesy of head coach Kelsey Richardson. Bridget Robinson will get the starting goal as she has made the crease her own once again, and no thanks in part to that big save at the buzzer last Saturday at Rollins. One change amongst the starting back line, and that will be Mackenzie Smith getting the start on senior night. She will be joined by Bryce Forrest, Reese Belanger, and fellow senior graduate student, as a matter of fact, in Ashley Walter. Charlotte Hardy will get the start in midfield tonight on her senior night as she has just gotten better and better as the season's gone along. She'll be joined by Phoebe Hurt and Claire McGuire, who there's running out of adjectives to describe how good Claire McGuire has been here in 2025. The four up front remain unchanged. Caroline Finn would be starting anyway, but of course gets the start on senior night. She'll be joined by Sophia Ciccoloni, Sophie Bender, and Jillian Craig, as Jillian, with her next goal, will have the first 40-goal season by a Panther since Kayla Minton back in 2022, and Sophia is 1 point away from back-to-back 60-point seasons. As Sophia, even more so, is looking to close in on the all-time assist record. She now is 11 assists away from matching Caroline Dunleavy for the all-time program record in assists. And mind you, she has a year to go. So that is the starting 12 tonight for Florida Tech, as they are looking for, I mean, in a way you could say that beating Rollins twice in the same season is a statement, but you beat the defending national champions, you beat a top 5 team, that's a statement. And Florida Tech really have 4 opportunities to do that here over the next 2 weeks. They'll go to Lynn. They'll go to Lynn on Wednesday. Then next Saturday they will be at Embry-Riddle, and then they will close with Florida Southern. It's just about time for the starting lineups and the national anthem, so we'll step aside, and then we'll be back with the opening draw. You're watching Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network. And we are ready to go. A whole lot happening here in the meantime is number 20 hosts number 2. Second time that these two teams are meeting this year. They met back on March 7th. Tampa won that night 20-12, although Florida Tech did give it quite a run and at one point actually had the Spartan lead down to 3 midway through the third quarter, and then Tampa went on a 5-0 run, and that pretty much put all concern for the game out of reach. They were led that night by Peyton Howell, who had 5, along with Jenna Myhall, who had 4. Sarah Engel had 4, and Sophie Risk had 3. Neither of them are available tonight, so that will be big, as Sarah Engel had a great first year at Tampa. Matter of fact, had 35 goals in 7 games. Sophie Risk, the All-American and one of the big contributors of Tampa's national championship last year, had 36 points in 8 games, and neither of them are available. So here's the 12 being put out tonight by Tampa's head coach Kelly Gallagher. Savvy Barbosa, who got the start in the first game. Tampa does rotate in goal, but Barbosa got the start in that first game. She'll get the start here tonight. They will pack 6 in defense, and that will include Lexi Waters, who has been tremendous all year, along with Erin McLaughlin, joined as well by Isabella Avila, Katie Deshan, along with Delaney Starr and Grace Gilmore. The 2 in midfield will be Grace Lichtenberger and Mary-Kate Person, and the 3 in attack will look very different from the 3 that took to the field last month. Taking the place of Risk and Engel will be Isabel McGarvey, along with Audrey Wisdom. Peyton Howell, the one holdover in attack from that last game. Panthers wearing their traditional home white with the crimson lettering and numbering and black trim. Tampa wearing their road red with black lettering and numbering with the white trim. Our officiating crew tonight, we can tell you, is Al Grimaldi, Josh Feinberg, and Brad McDonald. 79 degrees at face-off, a very windy day. It was much warmer earlier this afternoon. That should continue to drop as we see Claire McGuire facing off against Mary-Kate Person at the draw. Florida Tech will be going left to right on your computer screen here on this Saturday evening. We're glad you're with us. This is going to go over toward the sidelines. Initially picked up by Phoebe Hurt. In some trouble, and then will be ruled an infraction against Tampa, and Florida Tech will get the first attack of this game. Well, generally, they have started strong in almost every game this year, and they very nearly do there as Ciccolone hit Bender, but she couldn't maintain control. Ultimately, the ground ball gets picked up by Claire McGuire. Fair skies, and actually not too many clouds at all in the sky this evening here in Melbourne. Expect temperatures to hold in the 70s for most of this one. Wind will be out of the southeast at 10 to 15, gusting occasionally to 20. The flags over on the scoreboard are blowing in from the east. It's been pretty windy as long as we've been out here today. Craig lost control, being picked up by 2 different Spartan defenders. Ball still on the floor. Giving chase is Craig, and that's going to be knocked out of bounds, and it will be Tampa ball. So Florida Tech's first attack really never even gets a shot on target. More importantly, no rain in the forecast for this one tonight. I mentioned these two teams did meet just about a month ago. This is the 12th all-time meeting between the teams. Tampa now leads the all-time series 6-5. Florida Tech won the first 5. Tampa has won all 6 since the start of 2019. The Spartans going to work, and this is Mary-Kate Person, this transfer from LIU, originally from Jericho, New York. This is her senior season. And that was an errant pass. And Tampa, they were playing that out from the back, so it's not even necessary. Well, actually, I should say the player receiving the pass there, Lichtenberger, had to be dealing with the sun, at least for, say, the next 20 to 30 minutes. Shot clock under 30. Good sequence so far from the Panther defense. Applying a lot of pressure, and the shot Save made by Robinson, and that was very well defended there by Reese Belanger, and I want to say that was Lichtenberger who had the shot. Tech's last win in this series was the 2018 SSC semifinal in Lakeland, which Tech won 20-8. That's coming up on 7 years ago. Florida Tech are 1-4 all time at home against the Spartans. That one win coming back on April 15th, 2017. As the pass to Ciccolone behind the net gets deflected out of bounds. Florida Tech have never beaten a defending national champion, and they've had one win over a top 5 ranked team in their history, and that came back in March 2020 when they defeated number 5 Regis. Like we said, they're going to get 4 cracks at this. There's McGuire on the drive. Spinning back out, and now going back in. Good footwork from the freshman, firing, and the save made by Barbosa. We mentioned Tampa like to rotate the goalies, but they've kind of favored Barbosa as the season's gone along. She's played the most. They've had 3 goalies who have played at least 100 minutes, although Barbosa's played the most at 427. Here come the Spartans, however, and Tech will catch a bit of a break. The pass was errant, and that'll allow the Panther defense to get back into position. And you got to wonder if the Sun playing some tricks on the Spartans so far. That they were driving into the light there. And that's who was throwing the pass that had to deal with the light. They were trying to find the target at the near post. Here's Lichtenberger. Belanger the one who will draw that assignment. I got it goes. This will be Kaylee Van Vladriken. McGuire is there. Shot clock now under 45, so they're halfway through the possession. We say a lot of good things about not just McGuire, but Florida Tech have had to start 2 freshmen in defense for most of the year. And another save from Robinson. And that was a point-blank opportunity. Hardy gets tripped, no call, and Tampa will win it right back, although there's the late whistle. And that played a heavy part in the first meeting between these two teams. Tampa on the night scored from the free position 9 times. And it doesn't matter who you are. You're not beating anybody. You concede 9 free position goals. I don't care what team you are. I don't care who you have. But what was a very tough night in terms of the fouls as Ciccolone gets the first real look of the night for Florida Tech. Went on the wraparound and denied by Barbosa. We mentioned she's played 427 minutes. She has started 7. Paige Borkowski has started 3, and Kylie Warnkin has started 2. But Barbosa comes in with a 6.45 goals against average. That leads the conference. And a save percentage of .516. That got up top for Lichtenberger. On to the right, and I believe that's Howell. Players not the only ones dealing with the sun so far. Once again, Tampa having to use more than half of the possession clock trying to get a look, and now a loose ball in the center. And out of all of that was Sia Markowski, the sophomore, who we didn't see a lot of first time out. But things have definitely changed for Tampa, and that'll be something that they'll have to adjust to. But as I have to say, you don't get to their level by accident. I'm talking before the game with Kelly Gallagher, she said the biggest thing is it might have actually helped losing to Embry in terms of being able to get this team on track as the Spartans get their first goal of the night with 2 on the shot clock. And that's the frustrating thing of playing a team like Tampa is you can defend well for 88 seconds. It's not 90. And that's how the Spartans get their first of the night with 8:22. So it took 6.5 minutes for the first score of the night to break through. It'll be interesting to see if that's a theme for the game. If if this game isn't nearly as wide open as the first meeting between the two, which had 32 combined goals. Both teams have had multiple opportunities. It's not as if Florida Tech's been pinned in their own end for the whole way. The goal will go to Person, with Audrey Wisdom getting the assist. That is the 15th goal of the year for Mary Kate Person, the senior from Jericho, New York. And for Audrey Wisdom, that is just her second assist. Claire McGuire wins the draw again and had another fantastic game at the draw against Palm Beach Atlantic. Although she actually didn't have to do nearly as much work. It was against Rollins where she had her second straight game with 10 draw control wins. She did that against St. Leo as well. Claire enters the night with 78 draw control wins on the season. There's only but so many players in Panther history that have had 100 draw control wins in a season. For Claire to be doing that potentially as a freshman, you can't help but be excited about what kind of player she might be in 3 years' time, or even just next year. We've seen some great freshman seasons in recent years here at Florida Tech, and that have generally portended even better things for years 2, 3, and 4, as Tampa won it back on the turnover, and they quickly get goal number 2. So it took them 6.5 minutes to get their first goal. It takes less than a minute to get their second. And the Spartans have a 2-0 lead with 7:31 to go in the opening quarter. That'll be a goal for Howell. That is her 55th of the season to go with 16 assists. And you get the sense that Peyton Howell is the one that this team is going to be leaning on to make up for the void of Sophie Risk and Sarah Engel. Howell, the transfer from Louisville. And she does come with quite a resume. Part of the national title team last year, 46 goals, 27 assists. So she's already blown past both, well, at least the goal mark. She was the USA Lacrosse Magazine preseason player and attacker of the year. Again, you don't get those by accident. Yeah, but with another draw win, and this will be through Waters. Really, it was such a massive part in that first game in the defensive and middle thirds of the field. That's high and going to be ultimately tracked down by Markowski. Mentioned before the game that, or before the goal, that Kelly Gallagher had talked about this team might have, the loss last week might help her team refocus. She said this is a team that hates losing more than it likes winning. As Tampa thought they had a third and denied on the doorstep there was McGarvey by Robinson, and Bridget's already had to put in plenty of work here just in the first 9 minutes. But the other quote that really stuck was, she said, I'd rather lose on March 29th than May 8th. Because when you lose on March 29th, you can play on April 2nd. When you lose on May 8th, you don't play anymore. She said that going undefeated was not something that was ever really brought up. It's a sign that you're doing things right and you're playing the game the way you should and you're doing what you need to do, but ultimately it's just a nice little thing to put on the end of the season. She said this doesn't take us out of anything. A turnover for Florida Tech, and Howell quickly getting the Spartans going the other way as she feeds Audrey Wisdom. Junior out of Roswell, Georgia is Wisdom. Bounce pass picked up by Lichtenberger. Transfer as well from the Division I level in the University of Oregon, which also was a previous stop of Panther assistant Hannah Helkoff, where she finished her career last year at Clemson before joining Kelsey Richardson's staff, but originally started in Eugene, as Robinson makes another stop and had to look around to find it. Ball was right at her feet. And Bridget Robinson has been heavily tested in the early going. That is already save number 4 for Bridget. Bridget ultimately got pulled on Wednesday, so this has been a good bounce back for her in terms of her head seems to be in a good place. And again, with the 2 goals, I don't know how much of those you can really put on her, although we have a goalie for a head coach, so I can only say so much. She would know much better than I did. But Robinson was swapped out at halftime for Kaylee Canessa, and ultimately Kaylee was the one who got Florida Tech over the line on Wednesday. Of course, did have a terrific effort against Rollins, played all 60, and they needed all of that. She made 7 saves. It was the 3rd game in a row in which she had done that. Florida Tech looking for their first goal of the night. It's Bender. And I think she might have pulled the shot a little early. Florida Tech will keep it, however, with 22 to shoot. Panthers to this point have had 2 shots, both on target. And make that 3 as Craig's shot does not go, giving chases Phoebe Hurd, although the shot clock is down to 6, and that ball never went out of play, so Florida Tech have to hurry to get the shot off. I don't know if they will, and they don't. I think initially everyone thought that ball was going to roll out of bounds. That would at least allow Florida Tech a chance to reset momentarily and maybe play a quick pass. Tampa going quickly to the other end. They've got the numbers going the other way, and a save made by Robinson right on the doorstep. I want to say that was Kaylee Van Vladeriken that had the attempt, but Bridget Robinson equal to it. And Ashley Walter will be the one to bring it out of play. I stand corrected. Robinson had it the whole time. I thought she had redirected it out of bounds. Belanger to Hurt. Hurt running at 1 and away from 2. And now to Craig as we come up on 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. That's now 5 saves for Bridget Robinson, and a good sign that even though she didn't finish the game Wednesday, she has been largely up to the task in the opening minutes tonight. They're going to need her. It takes all 12 on the field and then some if you're going to get a statement win like this. Here's Ciccolone on the drive with 36 to shoot. Back out to Hardy. Faked it. Cuts left. Cutting into the middle. And the lane never really opened for her to take the shot. Phoebe with a fake left and now fake right into the middle for Craig. And I think she might have taken some contact as she let the shot go, because 9 out of 10 times Jillian's burying that, but the shot got pushed high. And I think that might have happened on the shot. I think her stick might have collided with somebody else. However, Florida Tech are going to have a free position opportunity here with 2:10 on the clock. It's Charlotte Hardy, I believe, against Savvy Barbosa. It's Craig on the left side, and there it is. A remarkable comeback season continues for Jillian Craig. She has the first 40-goal season by a Panther in 3 years. Kayla Minton was the last to do it back in 2022. And the fact that Jillian was able to do this off major injury really is something special. And again, she's got 3+ games to run that number up even further. And well, if she's not all SSC material, then we just got to get rid of that idea entirely. I don't know what else you need. But Florida Tech, withstanding the early surge from Tampa, have halved the deficit to 2-1 with 2:06 to go in the opening quarter as they beat Barbosa on their 3rd shot of the night. It's McGuire at the draw going against Lexi Waters. She was very good in that role in the first meeting last month. As we often say on these broadcasts, if you win the draw controls, usually you win the game. Hurt putting in a ton of work there, and so is Michaela Whitman, and never could quite control it. However, Florida Tech do ultimately get the whistle. Goes over to Finn. And now for Bender. I asked Kelsey Richardson yesterday, I said, coming out of the timeout at Rollins, was that the look, or did that just happily coincide? She said, well, we knew they were going to take Sophia Ciccolone out of the play. We knew that they were going to have someone else besides her beat us. As Sophia's shot goes just over the bar. And she said, we're very lucky that we've got 3 other attackers that in that situation I trust to take the shot if they think it's there. And it just happened to fall in a way where Sophie had the look and went for it. Interestingly enough, not the first time in Sophie's career that she has hit a massive game-winning goal in the final minute. Her junior year for Marriott's Ridge High School, she scored a free position goal in the final minute of the state championship game that ultimately proved to win that. Beat Severna Park High School to win the state title. Which, if I remember correctly, I believe Severna Park High is where Kayla Minton is from. However, Tampa get one back inside the final 35 seconds of the quarter. That one was from some distance, and the Spartans reinstall their cushion back to 2 with 33 seconds remaining in the first. Well, anything that's worth getting is going to be tough. And if Florida Tech are going to pull off what we call that statement win, man, oh man, do we still have 45 minutes to play. It's Waters against McGuire at the draw, although Tampa have had quite a bit of success there in the early going. They have won. Actually, both teams have split. We have our signal and we're off. And it's been the same usual cast of characters on both sides, ultimately won for Tampa. And they can play for the last shot of the quarter if they want it. Joining will be Gilmore. Inside to 15. They played over on that left side. Or it'll go for Wisdom. Cutting into the middle, giving chases Walter. In through traffic and a save made by Robinson. And that should be a foul against Tampa. It won't matter because the horn sounds and that will end the first quarter. Extremely competitive so far through the first 15. After 1, it's Tampa 3, Florida Tech 1. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, student-athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student-athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student-athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Welcome back on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Jerry Durney here with you as we get ready for the second quarter with Tampa leading Florida Tech 3-1. We'll take a look at the first quarter stats. Spartans outshoot the Panthers 10-7, but 9-3 in terms of shots on goal. 6 saves for Bridget Robinson, just 2 for Savvy Barbosa. Spartans win the draw control battle in the first 15 minutes, 3-2. Tampa committed 2 fouls. Florida Tech are 1 for 1 from the draw control, and that was on Jillian Craig's 40th goal of the year. Tampa are 5 for 5 on clearances. Florida Tech are 4 for 5. The one they didn't get led to a goal. Florida Tech had 4 turnovers in the first quarter. 3 of them were caused. Tampa did not. have a turnover in that first quarter. The goal scorers spread out for Tampa. Mary-Kate Person, Peyton Howell, and Isabel McGarvey had the 3 goals. The 1 assist goes to Audrey Wisdom. For Florida Tech, the 1 goal we mentioned, Craig on the free position. The draw controls won by Claire McGuire and Michaela Whitman. And for Tampa, Peyton Howell actually caused 2 of those 2 turnovers. Lexi Waters had 1. And on the draw controls, 1 by Waters, 1 by Isabella Avila, and 1 as well for Olivia Jacinto. Teams heading back out as Florida Tech will be going right to left on your screen in the second quarter. This is the only game still going in the SSC in terms of lacrosse. Everything else was earlier today. Number 5, Florida Southern beats number 7, St. Leo 18-10. The Lions have lost 3 straight. Number 4, Embry-Riddle, no trouble with Palm Beach Atlantic, 22-5. And number 3, Lynn, beating number 15, Rollins, 16-6, as the Tars have dropped all 4 games in conference play. As Florida Tech win the opening draw of the second quarter, and they'll go to work. The sun continues to set, although this shouldn't be nearly as much of a problem for the Panthers this quarter as it was for Tampa, as Barbosa makes the save against Craig. The standings as of right now, Embry-Riddle is atop the SSC at 4-0, followed by Florida Southern at 3-1, and Lynn at 3-1. So those 2 are tied for second. Tampa and Florida Tech enter this game tied for 4th, both 2-1. St. Leo is 6th at 1-3, and then Rollins and Palm Beach Atlantic both 0-4. Florida Tech looking to make it a daily double in lacrosse today. Panther men victorious earlier this afternoon in Lakeland, 15-11 at Florida Southern. Both teams will play Lynn on Wednesday. The men will be here. The women will make the trip to Boca Raton. The right Hardy giving chase really has been such a great all-action player for this team. Contributes not just on the draws, not just with goals and assists, but also tracking back and being able to create turnovers as well, as she actually on Wednesday moved into the program's all-time top 10, moving past Molly Kaplan. She now reaches the marker of 62. And actually still with room to grow in that department with a few games left. Caroline Finn running a long ways with this one, gets it over to Shickaloni, and she'll let number 16 go to work. Back in the high slot is Craig, and now over for McGuire. And you get the feeling that Claire McGuire probably moves full-time into Charlotte's role next season. And on the feed from behind the net, Sophia Shickaloni puts it home. And Florida Tech are within 1 again with 12:34 to go in the second quarter.
Panther goals for number 16, Sophia Shickaloni, assisted by number 22, Sophie Bender.
And for Sophia, that is career goal number 97. It ties her with Leah Dunn on the Florida Tech all-time scoring list at number 8. So she's got a chance to take 8th all for herself by the end of the night. And, of course, 3 away from becoming the 8th Panther with 100 career goals. The last Panther to do that was Kayla Minton, who got so at the very end of last season. And plus for Sophia, that is career point number 177. She had a 7-point game on Wednesday at Palm Beach Atlantic, and that broke the tie with Sam Shiano for 4th place in program history. And that's some pretty elite company when you're up there with the likes of Sam Shiano and Ali Modica. And a foul before the shot for Tampa. And everything stopped for a moment. I could have swore the play had gotten blown dead. But Tampa will play it back out up top. But for Sophia, next on the list is Ali Modica at number 3 with 191 points in her career. Should note that was another 7-point game for Sophia Ciccolone. She has now played Palm Beach Atlantic 4 times in her career. She is averaging 7 points per game. Averaging 7. And here's number 16 with it now. Back over to Molly Kaplan. I said Molly Kaplan because I just was talking about her, and of course she wore number 10. That's Phoebe Hurt now. Although, Molly, if you're watching, we do appreciate it. I believe Molly is a marathoner these days, if I remember correctly. They played all the way back out to Whitman at the high slot, the very edge. Couple of fakes left and right, and over to Hurt. Right with the left, trying to create the D-cut. Back behind the net for Ciccolone. This is where she's at her best. Finds Craig, who's already got one tonight from the spot. Now trying to get one from open play as well. Inside the drive. And I don't know how Jillian Craig scored from that angle. Barbosa had it cut off at the near post. That physically should not have found a way through, but Jillian Craig made it possible. Her 41st of the season, and we are tied at 3 with 10:50 to go in the first quarter. My goodness.
Panther goal, scorer number 26, Jillian Craig.
I have no idea how Jillian Craig got that ball through. I watched it. I saw the whole thing. I saw the ball hit the back of the net. I still don't know how it got there. So 2 for Craig on the night, puts her at 41 on the season with 45 points. But more importantly, we have a tie game with 10:50 to go in the first half. And it also ties Kayla Minton. We mentioned she was the last Panther to put up 40 goals in a season. This is also tied for the highest scoring season by a Panther this decade. Kayla had 41 in 2022. So with Jillian Craig's next goal, she'll have the highest scoring season of any Panther this decade. And when you look at some of the goal scorers that have come through in that time for Florida Tech, that's some good company to be in. And as much as we've said with other players on this team, Jillian did this a year out from a major injury and put this up. Generally, with those kind of injuries, you get better, you play a season, and then you get better. You see that happen a lot of time in pro sports where players look all right their first year back, and then 2 years out, get back to the player that you know. So Jillian Craig's doing this 1 year out and scored 41. Imagine what 2026 might look like. Tech able to retrieve it. 30 on the shot clock. It's Craig behind the net. Over for Hurt. Whitman going to run at her defender. And I believe that's Christina Sato. Into traffic, and I think they were ultimately trying to find McGuire on that one. The pass was awry, and off go the Spartans. It's going to be taken by Erin McLaughlin, the senior from Bohemia, New York. Away they go. And this could be a potential free opportunity here for Wisdom. McGuire closed that lane very quickly. Ideally, I think if Florida Tech were going to find a path to win this game, this is probably the flow of scoring that you want it to be. I don't know necessarily that they have necessarily the gun, so to speak. As we see why right there as Tampa retake the lead at the 8:40 mark. And it's Peyton Howell scoring her second of the night, and Tampa retake the lead with 8:40 remaining. But as I was saying, I don't know if Florida Tech necessarily has the guns to go win a 2019 16-15 type game with an opponent of this caliber, at least not yet. But Florida Tech could absolutely win an 8-7, 9-8 type game if they can make that happen. Spartans able to win the turnover over by the far sideline. Crossfield it goes. Is going to be picked up by the junior Wisdom. Away from Hardy, one-on-one with Robinson, and Wisdom able to put that home. Off the turnover, Tampa reinstall their lead back to 2 goals. Audrey Wisdom with her first goal of the night. She'd already provided one. She puts that one home. And it is 5-3 Spartans. Wisdom with her 4th goal of the year in 9 games. And Florida Tech, after all that work, after all the good they did, it shows you this is the challenge in playing a team like Tampa. Is you can have a stretch as good as the one that Florida Tech just had, and still Tampa can wipe that out just like that. But Florida Tech are going to need to be able to regain their concentration and their nerves. There's still 38 minutes and 13 seconds left in this one. Erin Crowley on the draw as both her and Reese Belanger were terrific again on the draw as Hardy just gets run over there. And I mean, at the very least, that's a foul. That probably should be a card, although we see an official stoppage coming over from the far side, and I think it's going to be that official conversing with the other two to say, fellas, what are we talking about? I mean, that is a textbook hip check. Play on, they say. Folks, I don't have to say a whole lot. You saw it. My goodness. But Florida Tech do get possession, however, because they at least had the decency to call the foul there. There's Hardy still going through all kinds of contact. Gonna need some help, however, and she will get it through Gab Skoronsky, who was honored before the game tonight. Ball lost, however, and there's about 4 or 5 players. Gab's the one who comes out of there with it. Florida Tech will reset. Almost 30 seconds have already come off the possession clock. McGuire with it. Claire with just the one shot, which very nearly put Florida Tech on top to start the game. This is Shickaloni and a foul called against Tampa. 45 on the shot clock, and this will be a free position attempt of sorts from behind the net. And Sophia with the short pass over to McGuire. Absorbs the push from McLaughlin. Gets away from her, gets around and through on goal. And this will be a free position opportunity directly in front for Claire McGuire. This will be unimpeded and from a much better angle. Should have a short run up, and this will be a great opportunity here for Florida Tech to cut the deficit back to 1. Clock is stopped at 6:52 left in the first half. It's McGuire against Barbosa. McGuire on the run up past the contact of Waters, and she's denied. And a violation against Florida Tech, so Barbosa gets the better of McGuire on that one. And here come the Spartans, led by Isabella Avila. The junior from Worthington, Ohio, got picked from behind. I don't know if that was Brophy or Hardy who got the turnover, but more importantly, Florida Tech have the ball, and they're away. Here comes Carly Nero trying to pass this ahead, and scoring is Sophia Ciccolone. And we've seen that so many times over the past 2 seasons. We haven't seen a lot of it this year as Carly comes back from injury, but that could not have happened at a better time for Florida Tech as Sophia Ciccolone puts it home for her second of the game, and Florida Tech are back within 1 with 6:23 to go in the first half.
Panther goal scorer number 16, Sophia Ciccolone. Assisted by number 24, Carly Nero.
And with that, Sophia Ciccolone is now 9th, or I should say 8th all-time in program history with 98 career goals. Sophia Ciccolone is something serious. As she moves past Leah Dunn. Career point number 178. And a bit of history as well for Carly Nero. That is career assist number 43. And that breaks a tie with Alexis Townsend for 5th in program history for career assists for Carly Nero. Believe that is her first of the season. And then a save made. I don't know how much Robinson knew about that one. Next up for Carly is 4th place, and that is Allie Modica, who had 45 during her 3 seasons. She was part of the original Panther team and was also part of the first team that reached the national quarterfinals back in 2017. And Florida Tech, hard to say what the result will be, of course. There's still 35 minutes to go, but Florida Tech have played a much more disciplined game, and Kelsey Richardson thought that was going to be imperative. She said, we can't be committing as many fouls. You can't be giving a team that many opportunities on the free position. And she said, if we can play at even strength for the large part, she said, I'm not saying that we were going to win. Of course not, but there's every reason that we can be even more competitive than we were the first time. And so far they've done that. They haven't given away a lot. They haven't had any girls having to sit on that chair on the sideline. Because of that, Florida Tech right now have the ball with a chance to tie the game. So we are under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Hart swings it over for Nero on the right. Behind the net is Ciccolone. Joining her is Bender and Craig as well. Whitman out up top. And I believe that is Belanger closest to halfway. Sophia trying to lose her defender, not having a whole lot of luck. Plays it over to Hurd and now into the center for Whitman. Michaela will run at her defender. That's Lichtenberger. Pass for Craig, and I don't know if that actually got past Craig and to the goal, but it was snuffed out by Barbosa. Away go the Panthers. Through traffic, and the loose ball picked up and firing, and a save made by Barbosa, and I believe she denied Alexis Abe on that. Tampa playing their reserves here as their depth's been tested. Mackenzie Smith running with it near midfield. She's been picked up and now hounded by 3 red shirts and gets it over to Whitman. And here's Nero, and Florida Tech again with a prime opportunity to tie the game with 3.5 minutes to go in the opening half. Craig drifts with it into the high slot and now over for Phoebe Hurt. Kelsey Richardson said that the biggest thing that's improved with this team, and I said, what's something that you think this team has now that if you felt like they were in a similar situation in February, they wouldn't be able to? And she said, we just have better depth now. And she said that's been freshmen being put into spots that normally they wouldn't. And she said it's also been a lot of team building, not just because of what the coaches have tried to do, but the team has gone in and put the work, and there's so much more chemistry and trust between these players that they can count on each other now when the moments present themselves in games that truly matter. They know they can trust their teammates to make that happen, as Tampa very nearly got a quick counter goal out of that. Still work to be done for the Panther defense. and Kelsey Richardson said as well, is that there's just a better understanding of the offense and the sets that we want to run than we did last year or even at the very beginning of this year. And I said, is that down to just having the chance to repeatedly do that in practice and talk about it and look at film, or having the trust? And she said both. The only way you're ever going to learn something is just by doing it again and again. And the fact that we've been able to do that in practice, and now we've had more time and we've had an off season for them to understand how we want things to be. And the fact that they've gone out and done that in practice and in games, they know, hey, this works. This should work. If we are where we're supposed to be and we do what we're supposed to do, it should work. And though this will be a free position opportunity here behind the net for Tampa, the call goes against Mackenzie Smith. Although we will have an official discussion. Clock is stopped with 1:39 remaining in the first half. Well, I'm not sure what the discussion was. Nothing changed. There was no time added on. With it is McGarvey, the sophomore from Havertown, Pennsylvania. Trying to shake one, shaking two. Finds her teammate who beats Robinson, and Tampa pushed the lead back out to 6-4 with 95 seconds left in the first half. We said this is why being able to stay disciplined and not give away free positions was going to be so vital, because it felt like in that first matchup, Tampa had converted so many of them. Tampa strengthened their lead at 6-4 with 1:35 before halftime, and most likely whoever wins this draw here can likely play for the final shot. As Maddie Sisluk, the freshman from Longmeadow, Massachusetts, gets on the board for the first time tonight. McGarvey will get credited with the assist. Sisluk, that is her 9th goal of the year. And McGarvey on the assist. That's her 16th of the year. That ties her with Howell for the team lead. Tampa looking to land a telling blow going into the halftime intermission. Robinson read that all the way there from Sia Markowski. Tampa do get the rebound, however. The game clock is ahead of, or the shot clock's ahead of the game clock by 4 seconds. So again, they can play for it if they want, as getting the opportunity there for Tampa was Wisdom. Her shot was wide, and Robinson had that read all the way. Clock continues to run as Tampa will play it from out of bounds. Here we go on the left, and then this is Wisdom again, heavily defended by Mackenzie Smith. Ball being knocked around, and it's going to be a whistle against Tampa. So if Florida Tech can move this in a hurry, although 4 red shirts are all over Mackenzie Smith and lead her into the Tampa bench, and it'll be Spartan ball. There were four red shirts there before Mackenzie Smith could blink. And here come the Spartans as we come up on the final 10 seconds. And on the dodge, a save made by Robinson, but the rebound is converted. And that is a big one. That would have been such a huge momentum for Florida Tech to go into the break with Robinson getting the kick save. But Tampa immediately convert the rebound, and it is a 7-4 game.
Tampa goal for the number 12, Peyton Howell.
And you just saw that whole sequence, not just the shot with the rebound and the goal, but the turnover leading to it and the fact that they caused that turnover. And that is why Tampa have been where they've been over the past couple of seasons and why they are where they are right now in the national poll. I mean, they are complete in every phase of the game, as the Spartans will win the draw, but the first half clock will expire. And Florida Tech, overall, I mean, you would put that as maybe a B-plus grade for that first half. But you see what it takes to beat the nation's best, and they're going to need even more over the final 30 minutes. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back with the second half. At halftime, it is Tampa 7, Florida Tech 4. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
Hi everybody, my name is Celeste. I'm currently a grad student here at Florida Tech, getting my master's in computer information systems, and I'm also on the softball team. This year I've been lucky enough to work in a work study role with sports performance, and I will be taking you guys through a tour of VTC, where scholar athletes spend a lot of their time just throughout the day. Let's go. This is a meeting room where teams host team meetings, they watch pre and post game film, and sometimes we even have media day. It's a really good area for scholar athletes to utilize because we're also able to do our homework in here and even just get some downtime. Follow me. So in this hallway, we have the entrances to both our locker rooms where men's and women's soccer are, men's and women's lacrosse, and baseball and softball kind of hang out and host all our stuff. Right behind us over here is the laundry room where teams do their laundry, and they also have their game day stuff set out. So this is a weight room where teams hold team lifts and open lifts. Fun fact, actually, these racks are brand new. They got installed in the spring. If you follow me through these doors, we're gonna go to the VTC turf. So this is a VTC turf where all our sports teams utilize it for speed and agility with the sports performance team, as well as open field practices for our field teams. It's a good space to get some recovery in and also just get a nice running workout in as well. So this is our cold tub room where athletes get to utilize the cold tub to recover their muscles, and also there's a free post-lift snack area with a couple vending machines. Our sports performance coaches' offices are back here, and a quick fun fact, this cold tub is currently sitting at about 42 degrees. This is the athletic training room where athletes come in to get rehab and treatment for their injuries. Honestly, we spend a lot of time in here because a lot of us end up being really sore. But the good part about it is that Graham has really good tunes and his music does not disappoint.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport. It's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all. Because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it your
Founded to educate, the pioneers of the U.S. space program, Florida Tech's history is making history. Today we carry on this legacy, redefining what's possible, transforming dreams into reality, embarking on the endeavors most pivotal to the future. Florida Tech, making history, shaping the future.
Welcome back at Rick Stotler Field. Jerry Dirty with you on the Florida Tech Digital Network as Florida Tech trail the defending national champion, number 2 ranked Tampa Spartans, 7-4 at the break. Let's go over the first half stats. The Spartans outshot the Panthers 21-15 and 18-9 in terms of shots on goal. Bridget Robinson with 11 saves over the first 30 minutes. That's close to her season high, which if I remember correctly, I believe, actually it's one off. She had 12 against Colorado Mesa over 60 minutes. She had 11 in the first 30 tonight, 5 for Savvy Barbosa, her counterpart in the Tampa cage. Spartans win the draw control battle in the first half, 8-5. Tampa committed 4 fouls, Florida Tech with 1. Florida Tech officially 1 for 2 on the free position. Tampa officially did not take a free position shot. Spartans were a perfect 10 of 10 on clearances. Florida Tech were 9 of 11. The Panthers turned it over 9 times. 4 of them were caused. Tampa turned it over 4 times. 3 of them were caused. The leading scorer for Tampa in that first half, as you would expect, it's Peyton Howell, who recorded a hat trick. Elsewhere, Mary Kate Person, Aubrey Wisdom, Isabel McGarvey, and Maddie Sislick with a goal each. And the assists go to Wisdom and McGarvey. They had gathered 5 ground balls in that first half, 2 each by Peyton Howell, along with Erin McLaughlin. Amongst the caused turnovers, 3 by Howell and 1 by Lexi Waters. Isabella Avila with 4 draw control wins. Waters had 3. For Florida Tech, Jillian Craig with 2 goals to give her a 40-goal campaign with 3 to play. Sophia Ciccoloni with 2, as that puts her into 8th place all-time in Florida Tech history as she moves past Leah Dunn. And also for Sophia, that puts her over the 30-goal mark. She's at 31 on the year, so she's had consecutive 30-30 seasons. Also, the goal score. Those were the 2 goal scorers for Florida Tech. Sophie Bender and Carly Nero each had the 2 assists. Florida Tech had 4 ground ball wins in that first half. Claire McGuire, Mackenzie Smith, Charlotte Hardy, and Michaela Whitman with each of those. 3 caused turnovers going to McGuire, Smith, and Ella Brophy. And on the draw control wins, Hardy with 2, Phoebe Hurt with 1, Claire McGuire with 1, and 1 for Michaela Whitman as well. So there's a look at your first half stats. Florida Tech going right to left, or I should left to right on your screen in the third quarter as Tampa win the draw and are off and running as the sun not just fully underneath the trees, but almost fully set here on this Saturday night. It's been a much more loosely officiated game just in terms of there hasn't been nearly as much called as there was the first time these two teams played. Again, we mentioned Florida Tech allowed 9 free position goals, and there were plenty more fouls in that game, although this whistle goes against Tampa. Tampa had 8 fouls that night. Florida Tech actually had 7, but it was when Florida Tech was committing them and where they were committing them that proved to be the biggest deal in that game, and ultimately why Tampa were able to win by 8. Again, we mentioned 9 free position goals. Not many you're going to beat doing that. But the Panthers are in this game. There are under 30 minutes left, and Florida Tech correctly have a chance to go win this. Feed goes to Finn and beats Barbosa up high. And how's that for a senior night for Caroline Finn? Getting a goal against the defending national champions, and it just so perfectly describes Caroline Finn. Just doesn't always have the most eye-catching numbers, but you look up at the end of the year and you go, oh, wow, another 15, another 17. Maybe wasn't the initial target of that play, but the way everything unfolded, there she was.
Panther goal from number 7, Caroline Finn.
That is Caroline's 16th goal of the season. And that's got to feel good for the senior from Western Springs, Illinois. Trying to match her career high last year of 22. So career goal number 49 for Caroline Finn. And again, that has to feel immensely satisfying. Played in just 7 games as a freshman in 2022, then 12 as a sophomore, and then really started becoming an integral part of this team last year. And I would say even in the back end of 2023, she started to make her mark and really has never left the lineup since. Hardy over for Phoebe Hurt as Florida Tech win the draw. No assist on the goal, by the way, so that'll be officially an unassisted goal for Finn. What's more important here is Florida Tech could cut this to 1. And they've got the right person in charge. Ciccoloni had it. They went back to Finn. Save made literally right on the line by Barbosa. All right, active defense there from Belanger. Phoebe Hurt involved as well. Halfway through the possession clock here for Tampa. They try to get the feed in front. Maybe the best sign on this possession for Florida Tech is it feels like there's been 2 white shirts to the ball no matter where it's gone. Forrest getting the assignment here. Going to work against Van Vladeriken. Possession down to 20. This is Walter. I believe working against Howell. The shot, ultimately, I think it was going wide anyway, but Bridget Robinson was not going to take any chances. And the pass was high for Mackenzie Smith, and that's, again, we talked about it late in the first half on one of the goals that Tampa was able to create is you can't even give them that. If you give them short possession with who they have available to them, you're digging your own hole. Sisla coming on for Tampa. The wraparound that somehow gets by Robinson. I don't know if she necessarily had the read on that one, but again, we talked about you can't give Tampa the short field. Didn't have to do a whole lot after they got it. And Peyton Howell has her 4th, and it is an 8-5 Spartan lead with 10:39 to go in the third quarter. And another draw control for Tampa. They've got 10 now on the night, and you get nervous because this is how runs start. Although Bridget Robinson trying to short circuit that, literally on the doorstep there, makes the stop and keeps this a 3-goal game. Ashley Walter away with it. Is again hard to say how things will unfold, and there's still just over 2 weeks of play left, but Florida Tech have one more scheduled home game after this. Of course, things could break it where if Florida Tech can finish inside the top 4, they'll have a home game in the first round. But a lot of work to do between now and then, but got to be especially satisfying for Ashley Walter, who is the most tenured member on this Panther roster. She was a freshman back in the 2020 season that got cut short. Was a member over the next 3 years. Did not play in 2023 and then returned last year and has been a fixture for the Panther defense whenever she's been here. She's been, I believe, has just cleared the 60 start mark in her career as Florida Tech have a free position opportunity right here. Clock stopped at 9:20 to go in the third quarter. On the run-up, and a save made against Finn by Savvy Barbosa, her 7th of the night. Well done there, and I believe Shicaloni or Ella Brophy might have had something to do with the turnover there right into the Panther bench. And Kelsey Richardson trying to get that restart going. Although I think they do need a reset on the shot clock. No, they do not. Oddly enough, 7 seconds it came off, but I don't think Florida Tech had the ball. Hopefully it won't matter and Florida Tech can just get this quickly down. Well, so much for that. Here come the Spartans as lost in possession. I believe that was McGarvey, and there's a whole host of Panthers there, a lot more than Spartans. It's Michaela Whitman who comes away with it, feeds Julie Andrea, and there is plenty of room here for Florida Tech. Bender is with her. So is Ciccolone. Julia ultimately gets it to Sophia. Phoebe Hurt will join her, so will Caroline Finn. Brophy is on the attack as well. I believe that's Craig behind the net who withstood a lot of contact, and there is the whistle. Boy, Tampa not a play to play a very physical style of defense, and I don't say that as a slight. And I think part of every game is you have to know where the line is. No two games are ever going to be officiated exactly the same, and that was part of the takeaway from the first meeting as Jillian Craig has her second free position goal of the night. She's got a hat trick. She's got 42 for the season, and Jillian Craig now has the highest scoring season of any Panther this decade. She beats Kayla Minton's total from 2022 with her 42nd, and it's an 8-6 game with 7:55 to go in the third quarter.
Panther goal scored by number 26, Jillian Craig.
It is the highest scoring season by any Panther since 2019. That year, Sam Sciano netted 44. Back we go to the face-off spot, and it will continue to be Marin Crowley. And it hasn't been just Claire McGuire this year, but we've seen Reese Belanger and Marin Crowley both do great work in games where Florida Tech were having trouble on the draw. And ultimately, it's been the freshmen sometimes that have been able to work that back into Florida Tech's favor, although it'll be a tall task tonight against one of the nation's best. That's one there by Avila. And out of all of that, it's pulled away by Lexi Waters, although do have a stoppage in play. Well, there was a Panther down, but Kelly Gallagher wanted to talk things over first, so we'll take the timeout with her. I believe we have the timeout as well. The teams are kind of slow going back to their sidelines, and now we have it. With 7:36 to go in the third quarter, Tampa leads Florida Tech 8-6. We'll be back. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Welcome back on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Jerry Durney with you. We mentioned the Panthers trying to make it a daily double today as the Panther men defeated Florida Southern 15-11. And they're trying to make it a perfect day here at the FW Olin Sports Complex. Panther baseball with a doubleheader sweep of Embry-Riddle. They won the first game 8-3 and then game 2 12-2. So, shout out to head coach Jeff Tam and the boys. They are now 21-17 on the season and 11-10 in conference play. Have had a nice bounce-back season this year and started to open up some eyes around the league. They go back on the road next weekend to Eckerd. And then they'll have their senior day in 2 weeks. We mentioned next week, Panther women go to Lynn, who are currently ranked number 3 in the nation. That'll be at 4 p.m. Wednesday. At 7:30 Wednesday night, the Panther men will take on Lynn, who are currently just outside the USILA top 20. Next Saturday, the Panther women go to Daytona Beach, and they will play number 4 Embry-Riddle. That'll be a 12 p.m. opening draw. The Panther men will have their senior day at 1 p.m. next Saturday when they welcome the Rollins Tars to town. Panther women have one home game on the regular season docket. That will be on Tuesday, April the 15th at 7 p.m. when number 5 Florida Southern comes to town. Of course, there's always a chance that the Panthers could find their way into one of the top 4 seeds and be playing at home in the first round of the SSC tournament, but a lot of time between now and then. But crazy to think that there's just one regular season home game left when we leave here tonight. It feels like February 1st when we all came out here for the opening doubleheader. Feels like that just happened. And I mean, like a week ago, feels like that just happened. Tampa with it with plenty of time on the shot clock, although they are moving with urgency and trying to quell any potential Florida Tech rally as there's a foul in front. It's going to be a free position opportunity, I believe, for Tampa as everything kind of comes to a crawl. Bridget Robinson's stopped one tonight and didn't need to stop that one because the shot was high. And I don't know if Florida Tech got to stick to that or not. But Bridget Robinson never even had to move. That was not on target. Florida Tech struggling to get it out of their own end at the moment. Robinson gets dispossessed. Good work by Mackenzie Smith, although I think that might be an infraction on Florida Tech, although that's one you take. I mean, that was a goal-scoring opportunity that was about to happen there for Tampa, so if Mackenzie doesn't do what she does, it's probably a 9-6 game. So in all likelihood, the right move there by Mackenzie Smith. Now you count on Bridget Robinson to be able to make the stop. Tampa said we'll just work it back around and out. They do get a full reset on the 90. So Tampa do have some time to burn here. They're going to need Robinson to do it again and again. And looks like she just did as that goes behind the net. And if Bridget does get the credit for the save there, she will already have set a season high with her 13th. But as we've mentioned, you're seeing it in various phases of the game tonight, in various sequences. And like I said, I think objectively I can't say Florida Tech's played a bad game, not at all. But you are seeing why Tampa are the team that they are, is even when you play a really good game, Tampa just have that ability, even when you make the right plays and you're in position defensively, they still just have that ability. If Bridget Robinson had already made a stop there in that sequence, and even still, Tampa find a way to capitalize. And it is now 9-6 Spartans with 6:03 remaining in the third as Peyton Howell puts home her 5th. She is now up to 59 goals on the season. Reminder, she played in every game last year for a national champion and had 46 in 22. Now, of course, some of that is you share the field with Sophia Risk, and that'll change some things. And, of course, Tampa had a few other star attackers who since graduated, and that'll change the algebra on that a little bit, but I think even if everybody was healthy, I think they were expecting Peyton Howell to find that next gear here in 2025, and now they've needed her to do that with Risk and Engel out. And I'll tell you, this is why, like we said, you don't get to be named the preseason player and attacker of the year for the nation by accident, and you're seeing that now. And again, I'll reemphasize, this isn't anything Florida Tech's doing wrong. I wouldn't say anything that it's, that they're just not up to it. They are. The effort's there. I think the discipline's been there, and still, you're just seeing how good of a player Howell is, as the Spartans will add another one. And they have their largest lead of the night at 10-6 with 5:03 left in the third quarter. And the most important thing Florida Tech can do right now is they have to be able to keep their focus and their nerves, because Tampa's ran off a quick couple, and this is where 2 quick goals turn into 5, turn into 6. And you don't want that to happen. And I believe Kelsey Richardson's going to take a timeout to try to stop the bleeding. She does. They will take it with her. 5:03 left in the third quarter. The Panthers now trail the number 2 Spartans by 4. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
So back to what I was saying. This could be yours, what you play. This could be yours, what you play.
5:06 to go in the third quarter. Florida Tech trail Tampa 10-6. As we mentioned, Florida Tech entered play tonight, tied with the Spartans for 4th. So if this were to hold, the Spartans would take command of, actually they would move into a tie for 2nd with Florida Southern, Lynn, and Tampa would be that 3rd team. And it should note for Tampa, after tonight, they go to St. Leo on Wednesday, and then they will host Lynn a week from today, and then they will wrap up the regular season at Palm Beach Atlantic. So the SSC regular season crown, not quite in their hands. They'll need Embry-Riddle to stumble more than once in that time frame, because the Eagles do have the regular season head-to-head in their favor. But of course, if you're Florida Tech, you'd like to remind them, hey, there's still 20 minutes left in this one. Florida Tech trying to claw their way back to 500. And also, more importantly, they would move to 3-1 in league play, which would bode really well for their SSC tournament hopes. I believe they're in good shape, as Aaron Crowley won the draw, but then just had too much on the pass to Bender. Bender was right there, and I think just didn't have enough time to react to get her stick to where the ball was. But also, Crowley was facing some pressure from Tampa in doing so. I think with 2 wins, Florida Tech are in a pretty good spot to make the SSC tournament as is. If you get that 3rd one, it's almost a lock at that point. Now, of course, Florida Tech still have 3 more opportunities to improve upon that after tonight. And work it back around up top, and working around for Miranda Riccardi, the freshman from Long Beach Island, New Jersey. And back out it goes to Riccardi. Pretty well defended here by Ashley Walter. And she has, I believe, started over 60 games in her Florida Tech career. And you saw the effort and you saw the skill her freshman year in 2020. That was a Florida Tech team that went 6-2 before everything stopped, and had a pretty big win against Regis in that time. And Ashley Walter was a big part of that. And here she is in 2025, trying to get Florida Tech another win over a top 5 program, as Robinson ultimately puts an end to that. And we do have it confirmed. Bridget Robinson has set a new season high in saves with her 13th. McGuire over for Bender. And McGuire trying to set the screen, but things happen so fast, she didn't even have time to really set it. Ciccolone back to Whitman in the high slot, and now Ella Brophy, another freshman who has made her mark this year. Maybe not quite to the extent of the others, but you can definitely tell Ella Brophy is someone who probably will have an expanded role in 2026 as Barbosa makes the save against Craig. Kept in play. This is Ciccolone trying to get the wraparound and pretty well guarded. Tampa have done a pretty good job on her tonight, all things considered, but not well enough. Believe that was Sophie Bender who puts it home, and Florida Tech still in this one with 2:27 left in the third. It is a 10-7 game on Sophie Bender, and I believe, I want to say that Ciccolone on the assist. So first goal of the night for Sophie Bender. That is her 32nd of the season. And Ciccolone adding to her total on the night. That'll be her first assist. That is her 81st. So she is now within 10 of Caroline Dunleavy for the program's career record in assists. The only question is whether she gets it this year or in 2026. And also for Sophia, career point number 179. In all likelihood, and it might be next season. We'll see as the Spartans win the draw. Sophia probably will join the 200-point club at some point in the next 12 months. Only two have done that in Florida Tech's history. Caroline Dunleavy with 260. And Sarah Grenier is your record holder with 270. And there may be someone who gets there through a combination of goal scoring and providing, but I feel like Sarah Grenier's record of 231 goals is probably going to stand for a long, long time here at Florida Tech. One of the great original Panthers, as shot clock inside 40 as we come up on the final 90 seconds of the third quarter. We're on the near side for Wisdom. Spins away from Belanger, but McGuire closes the lane. They got to play it back to the high slot with 15 to shoot. Here's a drive going right through two and scoring. Believe that was Alexis Abe who puts it home. And Tampa pushed their lead back out to 4 with 1:05 remaining in the third quarter. That was an impressive effort. By Alexis Abe, the graduate student transfer from UMBC, who puts that home. And for Abe, that is just her third goal of the season.
Tampa goal for number 42, Alexis Abe.
And I stand corrected. That goal will be given to Peyton Howell. That is her. Well, no, they do correct it. It is given to Abe. Well, Howell is currently on 6, by the way. And Abe with her, what is her third goal of the year, as we're inside the final 45 seconds. Tampa have it, and they are keeping their foot on the gas. And they know, because I think there is very much a healthy respect. And I get that from talking to Kelly Gallagher before the game. And I think she would say that really about anybody in the SSC. And just had so much good to say about this Florida Tech team and really about the SSC in general. And I think there really is a growing pride amongst this conference that this really is the best lacrosse league in the country. 7 of the 8 teams are currently ranked inside the top 25. And, as we said in the first half, well, we'll pick that up when we go to the fourth quarter, as we're going to hear the horn for the third, and that'll bring an end to the first 45. Florida Tech with work to do if they want to pull off a monumental upset. We go to the fourth. It's Tampa 11, Florida Tech 7. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network.
Founded to educate the pioneers of the U.S. space program, Florida Tech's history is making history. Today we carry on this legacy, redefining what's possible, transforming dreams into reality, embarking on the endeavors most pivotal to the future. Florida Tech, making history, shaping the future.
Welcome back on the Florida Tech Digital Network. Jerry Durney with you as we head to the fourth quarter. Florida Tech still very much alive in this one against number 2 ranked defending national champion Tampa, 11-7. Give you a look at the stats through 3 quarters. Tampa outshooting Florida Tech 29-21 and 24-14 in terms of shots on goal. However, one of the things keeping Florida Tech in this is Bridget Robinson, who now has 13 saves on the night. And that sets a new season high for the transfer from Longwood in her first season in the Panther cage. It's the 3rd time this year that she has recorded double-digit saves. She had 12 against Colorado Mesa on February 27th and had 11 in the first matchup with Rollins back on February 21st. Florida Tech will be going right to left on your screen here in the fourth quarter, and it's still possible. But Florida Tech will have to be almost perfect here in the fourth if they're going to do it. Claire McGuire set on the face-off duty, going against Lexi Waters. And Tampa have won 14 of 21 on the night. Isabella Avila is responsible for 9 of them. We have our signal. This is going to go into the Panther end. And it's another one won by Avila, her 10th of the game. No other Spartan has more than 3, and that's Waters. And then no other Spartan has more than 1 beyond that. So it's really been 2 players that have led the charge at the spot tonight for Tampa. Florida Tech have 7. Hardy has 3. And no other Panther with more than 1. And that kind of tells you what they're up against, because on most nights this season, Claire McGuire has been a big contributor on the draw. And this will be part of the growing experience for Claire. Is she's going to learn is that's going to be, I don't know if that's against Hardy or Smith, but it's going to be a free position opportunity here for Tampa. And Bridget Robinson will be tested immediately from the free position here, just 44 seconds into the fourth quarter. Here's the run-up, and that was a bar-down goal there, I believe, from Miranda Ricciardi. Ricciardi going off the crossbar, down and in, and actually that was Grace Lichtenberger. I stand corrected, not Ricciardi. So the junior defender puts it home. That's her first of the night. And for Lichtenberger, her fourth of the season. And the Spartans have their largest lead of the game at 12-7. What we were saying before the free position sequence is that I think for Claire McGuire, and again, also credit, this is a good Tampa team that do a great job with this, but also, she has put in these great performances throughout the year in every phase of the game. That's how you get a book. And, there's no one in this league that, she's really going to surprise anymore. Now there's film on her, and people are going to see just how good she is in every phase of the game. That's important. And I think teams are going to go into games now against Florida Tech where it's, hey, look, you have to watch for 27. The teams know, hey, we got to watch for 16, 22, and 26. 27's on that list now, too. This is Craig. Took a step towards center and then drifted left. Handoff goes to Shicaloni. And she'll have the handoff here to Phoebe Herta. Will fire through traffic. Good read by Barbosa. I thought that might get by on the bounce, but she had eyes on it the whole way. And then a great outlet now springs Tampa free, and they've got numbers. They'll play this to the right forward person, but the pass is wayward, and that'll short-circuit the attack for Tampa. Florida Tech get it back with 13:08 remaining. As we've see Abby Ogren for the first time tonight in defense. It's been a lot of the freshmen. Of course, Ashley Walter's going to be in there. Always is. And then, of course, Mackenzie Smith getting run tonight on her senior night is out there as well. And actually, it's not even entirely down to that. We've seen more action from Mackenzie as the season has gone along. Bender going low, and that was, I think that might have been stopped by Barbosa's knee. I think Sophie had the right idea. She had the right angle. But Barbosa went to go close that off, and I'm not even totally sure she saw the ball, just that she saw where Sophie was going with it. Her knee knocked that down, and it just stopped right before the goal line. And then just like that, look how quickly it goes the other way. Maybe a little over 20 seconds after, Tampa are off. And they are starting to put their foot down on this one. It is a 13-7 game with 12:11 to go. And that will be McKelsey Montgomery, the senior from Hainesport, New Jersey, who puts it home. The Panthers make their substitutions. And we've kind of hammered it on the broadcast, but it remains no less true, is that Florida Tech have to make sure that they keep their concentration and they keep the intensity, even though the result might be starting to lean a little bit more towards Tampa. You don't want this to be something where you look up and all of a sudden it's 19-7 or 20-7, because that's how these things happen, is you give up 2 or 3 quick ones and your shoulders start to sag and the air comes out a little bit and you think, okay, well, that was so much for that. And I think that would be doing Florida Tech a disservice for how well they've played tonight and how long they've kept this a competitive game against one of the better teams in the country, against the reigning best team in the country. That was blown. And actually, that's going to be the first card of the night for either team, as Michaela Whitman will sit. So will be a 2-minute penalty. I didn't hear for what. So it was a check to the head. So Florida Tech will be a woman down till right around the 10-minute mark. All knocked out on the ground. And Tampa have been so good about not allowing Florida Tech to get free on the counters, because that's something we've heard from a lot of coaches in the time that Kelsey Richardson has taken over this team, is how good Florida Tech can be if you let their midfield get a head start. And if you let them gather a ground ball, they can be very dangerous, as Robinson makes a one-on-one save there. We come up on the 11-minute mark, and she'll lob this ahead to Claire McGuire. She's easily over midfield. Florida Tech have the attack with Bender and Finn to her left and right, respectively. She'll wait for Brophy to join. Langer as well, as I think they're going to just trade sticks there for the moment. Bender firing, and I don't know if Barbosa got that or if the post got it, but either way, Tampa able to recover the rebound, and ooh, that's a pretty nasty collision there. And good on Claire McGuire drawing the contact. Florida Tech will get the ball back. 10:31 and counting, as there's about 20 seconds left on the penalty. Florida Tech at least have the chance to just continue to burn off the clock here and do a good job on the penalty kill, which is something that Kelsey Richardson talked about, that, well, they needed to avoid being in those situations, but if they are, being able to kill off those scenarios as well. Craig with it over by the Panther sideline. She's past Waters, through on goal. That lane will close off as she kicks it back out to Brophy, and the penalty has been killed off. So that was the first penalty by either team tonight. And Florida Tech able to manage. In special part thanks to the point-blank save by Robinson. They go to Finn. Another tight angle there from Caroline Finn on the feed from Bender. And Florida Tech not ready to be counted out yet. Caroline Finn with her second of the game and her 17th of the season. And this is a 13-8 game with 9:35 remaining.
Panther goals from number 7, Caroline Finn, assisted by number 22, Sophie Bender.
We mentioned goal number 17 for Finn, and for Sophie Bender, I believe that is her second assist of the night. Sophie now up to 18 assists on the year, so the numbers do get lost a little bit because we point out the year that Ciccolone's having and Claire McGuire as she wins the draw there. But Sophie Bender, very quietly, is about to have a 30-20 season. That's impressive. And play blown dead, and a yellow card against the Spartans, it looks like. We await the ruling from the official, but maybe a lifeline for Florida Tech. So it is a check to the head called against Erin McLaughlin. So that'll be another 2-minute penalty because that's the same one that Whitman had to sit for. Florida Tech hoping to convert theirs. Clock stopped with 9:25 remaining. Florida Tech trail 13-8 and looking to keep things interesting in this one. Bender to Ciccolone at her office. Bender sets up Phoebe Hurd, who's been active tonight. It's one of those things where maybe the stats don't reflect it, but Phoebe Hurd is always where the action is on both ends. Great move by McGuire, and I think she might have taken contact as she let the shot go because she had the angle. She had her defender beat, and I don't know if she got clipped from behind, but a clean shot probably beats Barbosa there. So hard to really fault Claire on that one. And a high pass is just kept alive along the line there. I thought that was about to sail into the Spartan bench. Van Vladriking kept that in play, and Mackenzie Smith running step for step with her. High pass, and Wisdom had to knock that down. And for Tampa, 8 minutes is probably a little early to be going to the stall, I would imagine. So they're probably still looking to score here and create more distance. I think after last week, you probably always want to make sure that you can never be too sure that a game is done and dusted. I would say if Tampa had the ball with 3:50 to go, this would be a little bit of a different conversation, but Panther crowd very much into it. I can hear them from across the way. That this is Person with the shot clock down to 10, although Tampa do seem content to just burn time here, and I think part of that's with the penalty is Person is just going to throw this away, and you do see that a lot where I think Tampa knew they weren't going to get a look, so they did that more so just to make sure that Florida Tech couldn't spring free. So Florida Tech will take over with 7:08 to go. Robinson plays over on the far side across for Ashley Walter. Smith in trouble again, and it feels like they have just always found her tonight. It's usually when she gets the ball, it's about 3 or 4 red shirts that are right there. And so McKenzie gets picked up for the penalty there, trying to stop the counter. So Florida Tech will be a woman down for the next minute. Should point out, by the way, for Ashley Walter, this is career start number 61. That moves her past Kaylee O'Brien on the all-time starts list at Florida Tech into 8th place. Whereas Haley had a fantastic 5-year career here as someone who kind of played every role possible, was in the attack, played midfield, and ended up being an All-American defender by the end of her career here in Melbourne. Firing, and I think that was more the post than it was Robinson. Ball still loose. Tampa trying to, they're almost sweeping for the rebound. That goes over the net, and it will remain Tampa ball. Robinson's got to hurry to get back in front of the cage. Shot clock did get a partial reset, back out to 60, in front and guided away. I believe that was Person on the shot, and it was redirected by Bridget Robinson. Shot clock down to 30. Florida Tech have killed off the penalty, although they're not out of the threat. Pass was over to the high slot. It gets away, but kept in play by the Spartans. Shot clock down to 20. Into 10. Firing, and Bridget Robinson had that snuffed out the whole way, although we have a late, very late whistle. And it's a yellow card. I believe that's going to be on Reese Belanger. And I think this is going to be for a check to the head. Well, no, I don't think it was for a check to the head, although Belanger will sit, and it'll be a 2-minute penalty. And it'll be a free position attempt here for Tampa with 5:12 remaining. So they officially ruled that as dangerous contact. And here's the run-up, and that was partially deflected. Hurt got there, and I believe Whitman did too. I don't even know if Robinson actually had to make the save because the shot did get redirected. As Robinson's able to get that over to Bryce Forrest, and now Charlotte Hardy, and Florida Tech able to deal with the danger, but they've got to move quickly as we're under 5 minutes to go, and they trail by 5. Ciccolone over for Jillian Craig, who's got 3 tonight. And I think it's officially going to be ruled a turnover against Florida Tech. So Tampa will take over with 4:28 remaining and 1:15 and counting still on the penalty. I should mention for Jillian Craig, that is her 9th hat trick of the season. Tampa on the drive that's going to bring them behind the net. Smith is there to meet it. And a high pass. Finn is waiting to get there. Seems like she was being held. Over it goes. Back behind the net. Shot clock did not reset for Tampa. Yep, I think looking ultimately for that one last goal that puts the game away. We're inside 4 minutes. On the dodge. Following through. And I don't know if Robinson got to that, but the shot did go wide of goal. Smith there to pick it up. Back over it goes to Robinson with under 20 on the penalty, so it appears Florida Tech have been able to deal with that. I don't think Tampa have scored with the woman up on any of their opportunities tonight. So at least Florida Tech have improved there. Well, still not, although they have gotten better with that because we saw how much those numbers were starting to run up as Robinson will head to the bench. And I think this is more a case of letting Kaylee Knesset get some time on her senior night as Michaela Whitman gets stripped on the dodge. We're under 3 minutes to go, so Bridget Robinson's night is done. Playing 56 minutes and 41 seconds and making a career high, or at least a Florida Tech season high, 16 saves. Oh, Tampa had an opportunity to score there, but I think now with the clock being under 2.5 minutes left, I think they're more content with the idea of, hey, Florida Tech can't come back if they don't have it. And I think ultimately that's what's going to happen here is I think Tampa are probably going to take off the 55 remaining seconds on the shot clock if they can. Yeah, another good look there that I think in a normal situation they probably try to score on, but there's 2 minutes to go and you're up 5. You know, the only way bad things can happen is if you don't have the ball. Although, dispossessed there by Charlotte Hardy, and I think that this whole sequence right here kind of defines who Charlotte is. Great defense, creates the turnover, and now she's going to take it into the attacking third, trying to set something up as her pass gets deflected. But that has been Charlotte Hardy all 4 years in a Panther uniform. Getting it back is Brophy, and now over to McGuire as the Panthers get their personnel set up. We're inside the final 90 seconds. Here's Nero, who had the assist to Ciccolone earlier tonight. Oh, all in all, I think I said going into halftime that Florida Tech had played a B-plus first half. It probably ends in total as a B-minus grade. I think Florida Tech can say they were pretty well acquitted with their effort tonight. And, of course, there's always things you can improve upon. And, of course, the result is what it is. But I think Florida Tech played even better than they did as Carly Nero will put that home. Carly Nero with a goal on senior night. And with under a minute remaining, it is 13-9 Tampa. And Carly Nero can be happy with her senior night. A goal and an assist for the senior out of Boca Raton makes it 13-9 with 49 seconds remaining on career goal number 78
24, Carly Nero.
And she's now got 9 points on the season, and it's one of those things where, boy, you just wonder how many games would have been different for Florida Tech this year if Carly Nero had been fully healthy right from the jump. I mean, we saw it in her first 3 years, just how good of a player Carly Nero is, but maybe it'll be a good thing that she's starting to round into form as we get towards the stretch drive as Florida Tech look to get back to the SSC tournament, and a healthy and firing Carly Nero would go a long way. 49 seconds remain in this one, and as we said, right before Carly scored, I think Florida Tech played even better tonight than they did in the game against Tampa a month ago. So it's one of those things, and Kelsey Richardson said this was part of the reason why she had Tampa on the schedule for the non-conference game as well. Is she said if you're going to compete, play with, and beat the best teams in the country, you've got to get used to what that looks like, and that's only going to elevate your game and your level and your mentality and everything that you need to beat those teams. And you know, when you have that familiarity with it, it takes your level up, and really it kind of loses that intimidation factor too of you don't have a reason to be afraid of this team if you see them all the time. As the final 10 seconds will tick off in this one, Tampa content to just run the clock out, and I'm sure there will be things that Kelly Gallagher will want to put on the drawing board, but ultimately they did what they needed to do tonight as the Tampa Spartans on the season improve to 12-1 with a 13-9 victory tonight. So let's go over the final stats of this one. Ultimately, the Spartans outshoot the Panthers 36-27 on the night, 29-19 in terms of shots on goal. 16 saves on the night for Bridget Robinson. That is a season high as she plays 57 minutes, while Kaylee Canessa gets the last 3. Savi Barbosa with 10 saves on the night as she plays all 60. Tampa win the draw control battle 17-9. Tampa with 6 fouls, Florida Tech with 4. The Panthers were 2 of 4 from the free position. Tampa were 1 for 3. Tech were 19 of 25 on clearances. Tampa were 17 of 19. Florida Tech turned it over 17 times. 8 of them were caused. Tampa turned it over 13 times. 8 of them were caused. And on the ground ball on the night, Florida Tech win that battle 9-7. For Tampa, as expected, they were led by Peyton Howell, who had 6 goals, 3 caused turnovers, and 2 ground balls. No other Spartan scored more than once. That just tells you how much Peyton Howell means to this team. The other goals going to Mary Kate Person, Isabel McGarvey, Audrey Wisdom, Grace Lichtenberger, Kelsey Montgomery, Maddie Sisluk, along with Alexis Abe. The 3 assists, by the way, go to McGarvey, Wisdom, and Kaylee Van Vladriken. Of the 7 ground balls on the night for Tampa, the ones with more than 1 were Howell and Aaron McLaughlin, each had 2. On the caused turnovers, Howell had 3, Person had 2. Of the 17 draw controls, 11 were won by Isabella Avila. She had 11. For Florida Tech, they were led by Jillian Craig's 9th hat trick of the year as she moves over the 40-goal mark. She's the second Panther this decade to reach that mark. Sophia Ciccolone with 2 goals and an assist as she continues her journey through the Florida Tech record books. 2 goals for Caroline Finn on her senior night. Sophie Bender with a goal and 2 assists. A goal and an assist for Carly Nero on her senior night. Florida Tech had 9 ground balls. Bridget Robinson and Charlotte Hardy each with 2. And of the 8 caused turnovers, the only Panther with more than 1 was Claire McGuire. Of the 9 draw controls, Charlotte Hardy had 3 and Claire McGuire had 3. So for Tampa, they are now 12-1 on the year and 3-1 in SSC play. The Panthers are 6-8 on the year, and they are 2-2 in SSC play. They will be on the road, as we mentioned, Wednesday at 4 p.m. at number 3 Lynn. Well, we hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast despite the outcome. We'll be back here for our final regular season broadcast of Panther Women's Lacrosse on Tuesday, April the 15th at 7 p.m. when the Panthers welcome in the Florida Southern Moccasins. We hope you will join us then. For my executive producer, Lindsay Whipple, I'm Jerry Durney, signing off from Rick Stotler Field on the campus of Florida Tech in Melbourne, where once again your final score tonight was Tampa 13, Florida Tech 9. You've been watching Florida Tech Panther Women's Lacrosse on the Florida Tech Digital Network, a presentation of the SSC Digital Network. Good night from Melbourne, and we'll talk to you on the 15th.